Another day, another Grand Prix, and today we are joined by Misty Mountain. So today we have the Hazers hosting their course, and on the front line we have our current fourth places in the standings, the Turtle Sliders going up with Dash. Then we have Fenrir. There is Minty Flav, third in line, currently dead last in the standings. Momo, Rojo Dos, Heart, Mallard, Firo, all of Team Momo, Rojo Rollers, the Blackjacks, the Green Ducks, and Team Plasma. Razzie, the Raspberry Racers. Wispy in the Midnight Wisp. Waspy was in the last race. Pinky Toe and the Pinkies. Bonbon and the Chocolatiers did quite well in the qualifiers. Shimmer and the Shining Swarm, our current leaders in the standings. The Snowballs going up with Snowy. The Hazers and Hazy, they are the hosts of this course, and Starry and Team Galactic. Here we go. And we're rolling for the second time this season. And currently up front, it is Fenrir. Followed up by, I think, Dash is up in this race. Or is it Crush? No, it's Dash. Dash, Mimo, and Fenrir, top three. Heart is already approaching the top three. In comes Firo up in fifth. Team Plasma need to make big moves to start climbing up the standings. And in comes Firo into the top five. Or top four, sorry. Now into the top three. But in the meantime, not looking so good for our hosts of this course. Mimo jumping head for first. And now Firo falling back to fourth. This is an intense race. Everyone's getting involved. All of a sudden, Pinky Toe and Mallard, they want a taste. Mallard jumping into fourth. And there's Mimo, going to make some big moves for Team Momo, who got 1 point in the last race, and jumping up to first. Coming on to the fifth and penultimate lap. In comes Pinky Toe onto the podium. There's Mallard, Firo, Fenrir, Rojo Dos, Glimmer, or Shimmer, whatever. As Mimo takes for the lead again. In comes Pinky Toe and Mallard. Firo, back in the top three. Jumping into second, right behind Mimo. This is an intense race. Anything's possible at this point. And Firo overtakes for first. And all of a sudden, things go a bit quiet. But things will be roaring for Team Plasma fans. They've just finished first. Meanwhile, the Hazers in last on their own course. So, with that, Firo, another good finish for Team Plasma there. Did decently in the qualifiers, decent enough to get them qualified, just barely. Mimo, and for a second time, the Turtle Sliders in the top four. Turtle Sliders should be in first now. The Snowballs, the Shining Swarm, and I believe it was... don't remember who it was on the podium with them, but whoever it was, I'm pretty sure they finished behind them now. Well, what a race. Honestly, this was an intense one. It was anyone's game. Let's see Team Plasma's road to first. Started 8th, immediately climbed into 7th, and Firo knew he had to make some big moves to extend his chances for the team. You could see Bonbon in the back trying to make some big moves as well, but it didn't quite work. They speed it up a little bit. Team Plasma fans were roaring in this race as they immediately jumped into 6th and then up to 5th after taking over Wispy. And it looked like Firo was going to get an easy ride until Heart bumped him back. Heart would finish in 12th by the end of the race, so I don't know what happened there. But look at the massive clump of marbles in the back, including Pinky Toe and Mallard, who finished in the top 5. But then Firo was on the podium and got dropped back to 4th by Fenrir. And then Pinky Toe and Mallard overtook, and it looked like it was over for Firo. Then Rojo Dos overtook, and nearly Shimmer. However, Firo knew he had to make some moves. Overtook Mallard, and I believe that was Rojo Dos, who ended up finishing in 6th. And overtook Fenrir. Mallard overtook again, but it was fine. Firo was back in the top 5 by this point, I think, as Fenrir tried to overtake, but no matter what, Firo would stay resilient. Coming into the final lap, it was anyone's game until all of a sudden Firo jumped into second, and then Firo needed to make some moves to try and get first, and that is exactly what he did, as Mimo slipped to get second, and Firo took first place. And that was the race. Now let's look at the standings.